A scone is a single-serving quick bread. They are usually made of wheat, barley or oatmeal, with baking powder as a leavening agent, and are baked on sheet pans. They are often lightly sweetened and are occasionally glazed with egg wash. The scone is a basic component of the cream tea or Devonshire tea. It differs from a tea cake and other sweet buns, which are made with yeast. Lexicology. The pronunciation of the word within the English-speaking world varies. According to one academic study, 2/3 of the British population pronounce it Scone, with the preference rising to 99% in the Scottish population. This is also the pronunciation of Australians and Canadians. Others, including natives of Ireland and the United States, pronounce the word as Scone. British dictionaries usually show the Scone form as the preferred pronunciation, while recognizing that the Scone form also exists. The Oxford dictionaries explain that there are also regional and class differences in England connected with the different pronunciations. There are two possible pronunciations of the word scone. The first rhymes with gon and the second rhymes with tone. In US English, the pronunciation rhyming with tone is more common. In British English, the two pronunciations traditionally have different regional and class associations, with the first pronunciation associated with the north of England, while the second is associated with the south. The difference in pronunciation is alluded to in the poem which contains the lines. The Oxford English Dictionary reports that the first mention of the word was in 1513. Origin of the word scone is obscure and may, in fact, derive from different sources. That is, the classic Scottish scone which, according to Sheila McNiven Cameron in the Highlanders Cookbook, originated as a bannock cut into pieces, and the Dutch scone brood or spoon bread, and possibly other, similar and similarly named quick breads, may have made the way onto the British tea table, where the similar names merged into one. Thus, scone may derive from the Middle Dutch schoenbread, from schoon and brood, or it may also derive from the Scots Gaelic term gon, meaning a shapeless mass, a large mouthful. The Middle Low German term schonbrot, meaning fine bread, may also have played a role in the origination of this word. And if the explanation put forward by Sheila McNiven Cameron be true, the word may also be based on the town of Scone in Scotland, the ancient capital of the country, where Scottish monarchs were still crowned, even after the capital was moved to Perth, then to Edinburgh. History. The original scone was round and flat, usually as large as a medium-sized plate. It was made with unleavened oats and baked on a griddle, then cut into triangular sections for serving. Today, many would call the large round cake a bannock, and call the triangles scones. In Scotland, the words are often used interchangeably. When baking powder became available to the masses, scones began to be the oven-baked, well-leavened items we know today. Modern scones are widely available in British and Irish bakeries, grocery stores, and supermarkets. A 2005 market report estimated the UK scone market to be worth £64 million, showing a 9% increase over the previous 5 years. The increase is partly due to an increasing consumer preference for impulse and convenience foods. Scones sold commercially are usually round, although some brands are hexagonal, as this shape may be tessellated for space efficiency. When prepared at home, they may take various shapes, including triangles, rounds and squares. Baking scones at home is often closely tied to heritage baking. They tend to be made using family recipes rather than recipe books, since it is often a family member who holds the best and most treasured recipe. Varieties. British scones are often lightly sweetened, but may also be savoury. They frequently include raisins, currants, cheese or dates. In Scotland and Ulster, savoury varieties of scone include soda scones, also known as soda farls, and potato scones, normally known as tatty scones, which resemble small, thin savoury pancakes made with potato flour. Potato scones are most commonly served fried in a full Scottish breakfast or an Ulster fry. The griddle scone is a variety of scone which is cooked on a griddle on the stove top rather than baked in the oven. This usage is also common in New Zealand, where scones of all varieties form an important part of traditional colonial New Zealand cuisine. Other common varieties include the dropped scone or drop scone, like a pancake, after the method of dropping the batter onto the griddle or frying pan to cook it, and the lemonade scone, which is made with lemonade and cream instead of butter and milk. There is also the fruit scone, a fruited scone, which contains currants, sultanas, peel and glacé cherries, which is just like a plain round scone with the fruit mixed into the dough. In some countries one may also encounter savoury varieties of scone which may contain or be topped with combinations of cheese, onion, bacon, etc. Regional variations. Europe. Scones were chosen as the Republic of Ireland representative for Café Europe during the Austrian presidency of the European Union in 2006, while the United Kingdom chose shortbread. In Hungary, a pastry very similar to the British version exists under the name pogiksa. The name has been adopted by several neighboring nations' languages. Pogiksa is almost always savory and served with varied seasonings and toppings, like dill and cheese. Australia. Pumpkin scones, made by adding mashed cooked pumpkin to the dough mixture, had increased exposure during the period when Florence Bjelke-Petersen was in the public eye. Date scones, which contain chopped dried dates, can also be found in Australia. Another old style of cooking scones, generally in the colder months, is to deep fry a deep pan, fry them in dripping or oil, when they're called puffaloons. America's round British scones can resemble North American biscuits in appearance, but scones traditionally rely on cold butter, while biscuits are more often made with other kinds of animal fat or vegetable shortening. Also, while scones are frequently sweet and served with coffee and tea, biscuits are served more as a bread, often with breakfast in the South. In recent years, scones under that name have begun to appear in coffee houses. They may be sweet, often containing fruit such as blueberries or raspberries, or else such flavorings as cinnamon. In Utah, the bread products locally called scones are similar to Native American free bread or New Orleans bonnets and are made from a sweet yeast dough, with buttermilk and baking powder and/or soda added, and they're fried rather than baked. They're customarily served with butter and either honey or maple syrup. Scones are quite popular in Argentina as well as Uruguay. They were brought there by Irish, English and Scottish immigrants and by Welsh immigrants in Patagonia. They're usually accompanied by tea, coffee or mate. Other usage. In Scots, the verb scone means to crush flat or beat with the open hand on a flat surface, and scone cap refers to a man's broad flat cap or bonnet. In Australian and New Zealand English, scone is both a slang term for the head and a verb meaning to knock on the head.